Hi, Amanda. I wish it ain't cheap. Thank you for coming onto my channel, Abel's Treasures. I really do appreciate it. Now, first of all, I think I've been following you on Instagram for maybe a year and a half now. One of the things that sticks out to me about your Instagram and just kind of your social media presence is you're very knowledgeable, and um, you definitely know what you're doing. That's the
Thank
impression
you.
I get from you.
Thank
I
you.
don't know a lot about you, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more during this conversation. So to get started, who are you? How long have you been reselling? All that good stuff.
Okay, so my name is Amanda, and I've been reselling on eBay since 2002, 2003. So it's been about 20 years. So I first got started my first summer out of high school, and I was working at a linen company, and that linen company made all of Ralph Lauren's linens at the time. So we would get in third quality comforters and sheets, and a lot of times there was nothing wrong with them. They were just discontinued, like they were very, very old. So I started selling those on eBay, and that's kind of how I got started. Um, I'm a mom. I have two kids, 18, 15. So I'm really busy running around with them, especially with my 15-year-old. She plays on a national level volleyball team. So we travel all over the US. So that kind of helps with reselling as well. I can go check out their stores all across. We mostly stay in the Midwest, so mostly across the Midwest. Um, and I've been selling on Poshmark for 10 years, Mercari for I want to say about 7 or 8. So yeah, so that's probably why it seemed like I know quite a bit. I have never really niched down. I just sell anything and everything. So
Right.
yeah. So
One of the
that's
things I noticed, it might have been last night on your Facebook Live or maybe a TikTok, social media kind of, you
I know.
forget where you find that stuff.
Yeah.
You made a comment that you don't sell a lot of clothing.
No.
Okay, so I found that as a surprise because I know you also said you sell on Poshmark. So what do you sell? I know you don't niche down, but what's something that you enjoy to sell? Let me
I
let you know.
I really enjoy selling linens and vintage Barbies, vintage Barbie clothing. Like those are my two favorite things to sell. And then oddly enough on Poshmark, I sell a lot of smaller electronics. Ever since Poshmark allowed the sale of electronics, I've sold quite a few electronics on there.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're doing that. But one of the first things I sold electronic was a VCR, and of course it was over 5 pounds. I'm like,
Yeah.
why did I put this on Poshmark?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
simple mistakes. I mean, I still made money on it, but I'd prefer not
Oh
to
yeah.
say that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's something that like you don't know about until it happens to you. I feel like unless, you see a TikTok or, a video about it, that is something that can happen to anybody on Poshmark.
Right. Tuition ain't cheap. Where'd that name come from?
Um, both of a lot of people think it's because I'm in college or I was in something to do with college, but it isn't. Both of my daughters were in private school when I started my eBay account back up and I started reselling again. And I was using the funds that I made on eBay to pay their tuition. So that's where that comes from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you, do you do this full time? Do you have another job?
So I've been a stay-at-home mom since 2004. So I haven't had like an actual job, but I said this on my live a couple of nights ago, like I don't want to put out the false pretense like I do this and it takes care of my family. My husband's always been like the breadwinner. I've always been a stay-at-home mom. So I'm like in between part-time and full-time doing this. It just varies week to week and what we have going on at home. I help my husband run his business as well. So it just depends on what we have going on and how many hours I can actually put into eBay for the week.
That's good though. I mean, it creates the flexibility that you
Yeah,
need in your life.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I couldn't have a full-time job and still do everything that I do at home, help my husband with his business and do everything with the kids. So eBay has really been that flexible income that I've been able to keep over the last 20 years.
And that's the key. I've talked to people. I want to start that. I want to make additional money, and you can choose how much time you put into it.
Yeah, definitely.
My goal is, I want to say I do it full time, which reselling is full time for me. But I'm also a bookkeeper, so I supplemented my income with some of
Yeah.
that. So you always want to make sure, like you were on your Facebook Live, be very clear. Some people can do it as a full-time job, and that's all they do as their
Yeah.
business. And others choose to supplement it in different ways. So is your goal to have, or let me ask you a different way. What are your goals for reselling, or is it going to stay as a side hustle, if we can call it that?
So for right now, I I try to grow it as much as I can with, like I said, with the time that I have. My goal is that, I'll be a young empty nester. So my 15-year-old in 3 years, she'll be graduated out of the house and I'll only be 42. So my goal is to keep my eBay account going, grow it as much as I can. And then once both of my girls are in college, to make this an actual full-time thing.
Are you creating additional income with your social media? Because again, that's one of the things that impresses me about you, to be honest, is your Facebook Live last night that I watched. The way
Thank you.
you put your things out on Instagram. I don't like the way I'm going to say this, but the way you sell yourself, the way you present yourself is probably a better
Right.
way of saying that. I really like that. So are you creating additional income that way too?
Yes, I am. So right now, it's been probably about 8 months that I've been monetized on Facebook.
Okay.
And then I'm hoping to be monetized soon on TikTok as well. And I have been saying for like the last year that I'm going to get on YouTube and I'm going to start making these videos, but that is very time consuming. I don't think people realize how time consuming it is, even to make the 1 minute reels that, I really focus on those. It's really time consuming. So I would like, for that to take off and for that, hopefully one day, to make more money than my eBay account does.
Yeah.
That's definitely my goal with my social media.
And I think that can happen just with the knowledge that you're providing to people. What sticks out again last night was Mercari. You were talking about Mercari, the additional upcharges, things like that. I don't remember what it was, but I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to go back and watch. But whatever that shipping thing is, I didn't know that on Mercari. So I appreciate what you're putting out there.
Yeah, definitely. And, I get a lot of comments, especially on Facebook, about how, you're giving away too much information and more people are going to be doing this. But that's actually the goal of my channel, is for more people to do this. There are so many items out there at garage sales, thrift stores, online auctions, that there's enough out there for everybody. And, as a young stay-at-home mom years upon years ago, to be able to go to the thrift store or go to TJ Maxx, pick up some items, sell them, and be able to make a little extra income for my family, that made a big difference when we were really young. So if I could do that to help somebody else out, that's the whole point of my channel.
Yeah, I like that. So on your channel, on reselling, any of that, so this question encompasses all of it. What is something that you struggle with regarding making content or reselling? What is something that you wish maybe you got help with or knew a little bit more about?
So I do not like shipping. Like, I drag my feet if I have a 2-day handling time. Sometimes I'm like waiting until the very last minute of that 2-day handling time. Like 2013, 14, I would resell with my dad, and he would do all of my shipping. I would buy everything, list it, answer all the questions, and then he stored everything and he would ship everything for me. And those were like the best years because I only did the things that I liked. So our account was really, really active. We had a lot of sales and I didn't have to ship. And like I said, shipping is like, I do not like shipping at all. That's the downfall to reselling for me.
I'm grinning because that's a surprise to me. I get it. Shipping, I had to ship 2 VCRs. My handler time is 1 day. I could have done it yesterday. I'm like, I'll wait until tomorrow
Yeah.
because I don't want to. I don't want to pack those VCRs. Thank God I got the sale,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't want to go back them. But a lot of people say listing the item on eBay is their pain point. So that's definitely different. I like hearing the different aspects of it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't mind I could list all day long, take pictures, list, no problem. It's the shipping that I dread.
So I'm going to go back to your knowledge. You seem like you have a lot of knowledge in different areas. TikTok I saw was a My Little Pony that you sold for $130. I look at those at garage sales. Of course, I use Google Lens. Still don't find a $130 one. They're like $10, $14, something like that. So where are you gaining that knowledge? How are you continuing to accumulate the knowledge to move forward in your business?
So I do a lot of research. I hate looking stuff up, like when I'm at the bins or at a garage sale. So what I do at every night is when I'm laying in bed, I get on my phone and I'll just think of something that I see a lot of at garage sales. Like last night, I was looking up curling irons just to see what the top selling curling irons were on eBay. And I would just go to, filter by solds, last 90 days, and then filter by the highest price. And then just look for curling irons that I would see over and over again. So I knew that they weren't like one-off rare items. These were actual items that people could find consistently. And then I just make a mental note, go through, and then I look through blow dryers. And just every single night, I always do that when I lay in bed. I'm always researching.
I don't know if you can see my facial expressions, but that's dedication right there. I'm scolding myself right now. Okay, that's something I need to do a lot more. I do research while I'm at the bins or while I'm at the garage sale.
Yeah.
But if you're doing beforehand, you're continuing to gain more knowledge, increase that database.
Yeah,
In here
definitely.
to be able to make faster decisions.
Yeah. Yep. And I quit doing it, but I was also because I do this every night and I would see all these things. I had started making BOLO lists and I was actually selling them for a little while on my Facebook, but I kind of got away from that. So when I was making those, that actually helped me quite a bit too. And I have a reel from probably about 2 months ago where I found these coffee mugs. And if I wouldn't have been making those BOLO lists and looking up things at night, I would have just walked right past these and they ended up being like a $45 sale. So when I actually see an item that I've been, researching and I sell it, make money, it's kind of like motivation to keep on doing that.
Not only that, so that's something I enjoy talking about on my channel is not necessarily reselling, just motivation, determination, those types of words. So I want to kind of go a little bit deeper than just reselling and social media. So I think that's just a good segue. How do you stay motivated in your day-to-day life in reselling, however you want to answer that?
This might sound really out, but money. I mean, I like things. So, and I don't always want to, like I said, my husband's the breadwinner. I mean, he always has been. I like to be able to buy my own stuff, and so that, and then, going on trips with my family. Like we just went up to the Upper Peninsula. We rented an Airbnb for a week and I took a week off of eBay. My husband took the week off of work and we were able to do that. And that's really a huge motivation to do these, to stay active on eBay and on my social media is being able to provide like memories for my kids. As with the money comes things like, my daughter plays travel volleyball 6 months out of the year. And, we're in Pennsylvania and St. Louis. We're all over the place. So that's really my main motivation. My oldest just started college. So we now have college we have to pay for. So I say money and it sounds materialistic, but it also money comes with other things as well. And, a lot of that, like I said, has to do with our kids and providing memories and providing experiences and giving them a certain type of life that, maybe me and my husband didn't have when we were growing up. So,
yeah. So, and this is going to sound similar to another video, another conversation I had. So really it's not money. It's the the value of spending time with family and creating the flexibility to be
Yeah.
able to do what you want, that freedom.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I like that. It's definitely I've been hearing more and more, the core, you created a core memory for your kids. They're going to remember this as they get older,
Yeah.
as they have kids, and they're going to talk to their kids about this is what we did when I was little, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that's so important. I'm a grandfather, and my daughter now calls me, and we talk about, oh, I remember when we did this or that, and that just fills my heart of
Yeah.
being able to spend that time with her, and hopefully I
Definitely.
can spend more time with my granddaughter too.
Yeah.
Creating that flexibility.
Yep.
So yeah, I could talk probably all day about creating flexibility and spending time with family. So that definitely hit a core with me. That's important.
It is.
And money helps you do that. It gives you the
It
freedom.
it does. I mean, honestly, it's one of the only things that can really help you do that.
On that note, I'm going to stay with that topic. Something that Rachel Strickland said that stuck with me. She said this a year or two ago. It's not necessarily going full time with reselling. It's how you're able to control that money as well. Meaning, if you have so much debt, if you have a mortgage, if you have a car payment, things like that, some people may not be able to do that full time. But if you're able to, she didn't say it like this, but this is what I took out of it, living minimalistic and not have so much debt, then you might be able to do reselling full time. And that stuck with me. And that's kind of
Yeah.
that I went with.
Definitely. I mentioned that in one of my lives a couple of weeks ago. Somebody asked me, if I did this full time, if it supported my family. And I said, it could somebody could live off of what I make. It just depends on where you live, cost of living, what kind of car you're driving and things like that. But definitely if you lived minimal, you could definitely live off of a full-time reselling income for sure.
Right. What does your family think about reselling?
Oh, they love it. So, yeah. So, back when I started doing this, I actually got my parents involved because I was a college student, so I didn't have the money to go and buy like all of these linens at the store I was working at. So my boyfriend, which is now my husband, I remember he gave me like $100 to buy 10 comforters because these comforters came in at $10 and it was like I got 30% off. Reselling really wasn't a thing back then, so my job let me use my employee discount. So I was only paying $7 for these comforters. So he gave me $100 to buy as many as I could. And so, he's been supporting me in this since 2002. And then I got my parents involved. We would drive to all the Ralph Lauren outlets around the Midwest and pick up all the linen. My parents would pay for everything, and then I would sell it all, and then we'd split the profit. And then even fast forward to 2013-14, me and my dad sold on an account together. We liquidated a church that had a convent hooked up to it. And there was like 8 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. We sold all the light fixtures, the cabinets off the walls. I mean, we sold everything out of there. And then even now, my mom is now a retired teacher, and her and my dad sell on eBay part-time now. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're all for it. And then even like I have cousins who, my cousin, he sells nothing but suits, and he has supplied the suits to a couple of movie sets just from eBay. So it's kind of like in my family.
It's deep in your family. It sounds like.
It is.
Is there anybody that came to you besides social media? I'm talking your personal life. Come to you and say, "Can you teach me this? Can you show me this?"
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there is. Yeah. So
and have been successful after you showed them.
Semi-successful. Yeah, definitely. I think it takes. People don't realize how much it takes and how much you have to stick with it in order for it to be successful. Like my grandpa always gives me stuff to sell for him, and it never sells because he doesn't give it enough time. So like right now I have some shoes of his and some coins, and he asked me, he was like, do you still have those? Have they sold? And I told him, no, they haven't. He goes, okay, just bring them back to me because they're probably not going to sell. But, most people don't realize that, sometimes it can take some months for stuff to sell.
Yeah. Perseverance, sticking with it,
Yeah.
to be able to make it work. And I shouldn't have used the word successful because the word success is different for everyone, right?
Right.
So I'm going to stay with that. What is your definition of success then?
Gosh, that's a really tricky one because like you said, it really just depends. As far as like with reselling, what?
I'm going to leave it open on how you want to answer that.
Okay. So I'm going to stick with reselling, and successful reselling to me is just being able to pick up things that are going to sell. Gosh, this is a really tricky one because it can mean so many different things. But for me personally, how I know I'm successful in reselling is, being able to buy the items that I buy. I buy a wide variety of items, and I know something's going to sell. For the most part, I'm to the point where I really don't have to look too much stuff up just because of all the research that I'm doing at night. And my customers are happy. I'm able to create an income that most people would have to get a college degree to be able to have, which I'm very proud of that. I actually quit nursing school. I was in nursing school when I was younger, and I quit to start selling on eBay full time. And fast forward, it took me a long time to do it full time, but now that I have the income of a nurse. If I would have stuck with it, I'd make just as much money. And for me, that is success for me.
Yeah. Good answer. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but I really think we got there. That was a very good answer. The other part I'm going to add to you, and if you're okay with that, what I see success for you to be is being able to put it out in the world of helping other people.
Yeah.
I imagine, just like me real quick, getting on your live last night, learning something. I'm going to use that eventually, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the next day, but eventually. And you're being able to put that into the world. And I think that's success, being able to help others achieve what their goals are, no matter if it's minuscule or how big or how small it'll be.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm an introvert. Like, this is so not me at all. Like, I was at a party this weekend, and I'm always like the quiet one off in the corner, just watching everybody. So stuff like this is like totally out of my comfort zone. If someone would have told me I would be doing this 3 years ago on social media, I would have never believed them.
Right. So how did you break that barrier and get on social media?
It was my husband. He was so persistent because I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTubers all about reselling, and he would tell me over and over, like, you need to do this. He bought me a camera like 2 years ago, and I recorded a little bit, and I never did anything with it. And he was just adamant. He was like, you really need to do this. You could be really good at it. You know so much. You've been doing this for so long. He was like, the people you watch, you've been doing this for 5 times as long as they have. He was like, you really need to jump into this. So, and first I just started on my personal account, and then that's when Facebook invited me to the Reels Play program. But I didn't want my personal Facebook account to be public. So that's when I made my Tuition Ain't Cheap account and started posting my Reels on there.
So thank you to your husband for getting you out of your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How do you consistently stay in front of that camera?
It's really hard. Just because I'm sure being a one-man show, it's a lot harder than, you see a lot of these other people and they have help, and I don't have any help. So, I'm finding everything, I'm cleaning it, I'm posting it, I'm organizing it and listing it, everything. So I I set goals a lot, and I talk about it a lot on my Facebook. I usually post like on Mondays, like what my goal is for the week, what my goal is for the day. So when I wake up in the morning, I set goals for myself, like before I even get out of bed. Like I know, like today I knew I was going to do this with you. I had some things I have to do with my kids, and I need to list 20 items. I need to get everything shipped out, and I need to finish rearranging my workspace. So that's really how I keep myself in front of the cameras. I set a goal for myself, like today I have to make 3 reels, and I just make sure I get that done, and I get it done as early as possible, because I know if I wait until the end of the day, it's not going to get done.
Yeah. I'm always talking about grind, because that's just the key word that my son and I would always talk about. On that note, what does your typical day look like? What time do you get up?
I wake up between 6 and 6:30 every single day. Like, doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It's rare that I sleep in. I wake up, I get ready for the day. It's key because I work from home. I'm home all day long. So if I don't get ready first thing in the morning, it kind of sets the mood for the day that I'm just going to be lazy and not get my stuff done. So I'm like ready to go every morning by about 7:15, 7:30. And I come right down to the basement, and I start pulling my sales and getting my stuff ready to get shipped out, and then start taking pictures to get items listed. If it's not a day that I go to the bins. I've been going to the bins a lot lately. It's like a 50-minute drive. So if I go out to the bins, I leave home by like 7:30 in the morning so that I can get there a little before they open at 8:30. And then when I get home, I try to list at the easiest items first. That's what I do. Anything that doesn't need to be cleaned, any small item, and get that stuff listed. But, I'm a stay-at-home mom too, so I still have like laundry to do. I got to get dinner. I got to get groceries. So I try to get eBay done as early as possible so that I can do the other thing late in my later part of the day.
Within your goals, do you have a listing goal? Like how many listings you're going to complete in a day?
Yeah, so I shoot for between 15 and 25 every day.
Okay. And how you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. How consistent are you with the 15 to 25? Are you making those goals every day?
I'd say like 4 days out of the week I make that goal.
Yeah. And how do you feel when you're not making that goal?
Not too bad, because I know that if I didn't hit that goal, I know it's because I was doing other things. So I try not to beat myself up about it if I don't make my goal for the day or the week. Like I said, just because I know that if I didn't do it, it was because I was doing something else, or something was more important than listing for the day.
And I think that's key with someone who, I'm going to use this terminology, either part-time, full-time, whatever it is, providing grace to yourself, because if you're not, and you're getting down on yourself on those days you're not listing as many, that just snowballs, and all of a sudden
It does.
burned out.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you're like, I don't even feel like shipping my stuff today. Or, it just gets you in that mindset of just like being down. Yeah.
Right. So, and the reason I bring that up is because I've been there.
Yeah, me too.
It's like I didn't make my listing goals, so I'm not going to do it. And all of a sudden, a week later, and I consistently wasn't hitting my listing goal. So
yeah,
that can go the wrong way.
Definitely. Yes, definitely. Because one day just snowballs into 2 and then 3, and yeah.
Yeah, and then you look back, and luckily, I talk about it on my TikTok. Is I want to surround myself with a community of people that support me. Luckily, I have those people to call me out, and that's why I wanted to say it here. Is people that are not making their goals. It's okay, but it's not okay. Why aren't you making your goals? How can you reevaluate it and move forward and keep people around you to call you out on your BS, but then also be supportive and say we can still get back on track.
Yeah, and that's definitely part of the reason why on my Facebook I will, put my Monday goals out there, or some days I'll just wake up and put my daily goal out there, because I know if I put it out there, it's like, okay, all these people are seeing that, I said I was going to do this, so I really need to do it. So that's kind of a little bit of motivation too. If I'm feeling a little lazy, like this month, my goal is to sell 15% more than I did last month. And so that's part of my motivation to get listing, because I set these monthly goals for myself.
I'm grinning because I'm taking away at the end of my video. I always pull 3 takeaways, but I kind of want to let you know I've already pulled 2 takeaways that I'm going to do personally. One, the research. I go research at garage sales, check comms, check solds, all that stuff. But to be able to do it at the end of every night, just pick an item and continue to research and know a little bit more about that, I think that's going to help me out. The other thing, this idea just came to me, so I need to overthink it, is maybe put out a listing goal out into the world on Instagram or something and say, hey, I'm going to do 500 listings for the month of August, whatever that may be. And put that out there so I'm held accountable, not just my little community, but everybody else on Instagram. So I like those. Those are interesting ideas. And this is why I like talking to people, because I pull that information from other people and try to implement it myself. My channel is called Abel's Treasures, and I always ask everybody, what is your greatest treasure?
My kids, for sure. My family, like no question. My kids are amazing. Like I said, I have 2 daughters, 15 and 18, and they're like the easiest kids ever. When they were 2, it was, wait for the terrible twos, never happen. Wait till they're teenagers. Like it's great. Like we rented a boat, went to Traverse City this past weekend, which is a beautiful little town here in Michigan. And my oldest, my 18-year-old, she was like, I'm so glad that we can do this stuff together and have a good time. She was like, how many of my friends don't want to hang out with their parents, or they'd be like, oh, I have to go to Traverse City with my parents for the day. So definitely greatest treasures are my kids and my husband. Me and my husband have been together since 2001. And we're best friends, get along great. So definitely greatest treasures are my husband and my kids.
Thank you, Amanda, for coming onto my channel. And I agree with you. Like many people have answered, it is their family. Their dedication to family is the greatest treasure. Now it is my turn to pick 3 takeaways that I pulled from our conversation. Now, I believe there's so many more, so go back, make notes. Amanda is full of knowledge. So again, I recommend you following her on her social media platforms, and the links will be down below. So let's get started. Number one thing that I took away from this conversation is her dedication. Now, it's not only dedication to her work, where she is researching on a daily basis and providing that to her supporters on Facebook, on TikTok, and Instagram, but it's also her dedication to her family. You see that same approach to dedication for her family and her work as she was talking. Again, it was only a 30-minute conversation, but in my opinion, that's what I saw coming out of the conversation. Number two is create a plan for the day. I asked her, what does her day look like? She gets up early, make sure she has a list, get the packing done. She knows when she's going to list items, when she's taking care of her family, making sure she gets things done. And then number 3, and this goes into number 2 as well, start early. She gets up early, and it took me back to a book I read a couple of months ago, and that book is called The Miracle Morning. It is by Hal Elrod. Now, The Miracle Morning really talks about starting early, making a list, like number 2, making a list. What are you going to do for the day? What are you going to do for the week? Or what are you going to do for the month? What are your goals? And then how are you going to attack those goals? So again, number 3 is start early. When you go to bed at night, if you start early, you're going to feel satisfied, and you're going to go after that satisfaction on a daily basis, in my opinion. So those are my 3 takeaways on what what I pulled from that conversation. Again, thank you, Amanda. And everybody remember, the greatest treasures is connections with people. Take care of each other.